good afternoon. My name is Catriona Wallace and I am the founder and CEO of Flamingo. So Flamingo is a conversational commerce platform. And today I'm joined on stage here with Scott Bair, who is the innovation lead at Nationwide, based out of Columbus, Ohio, and Dr. Jack Elliot, who is Flamingo's chief data scientist. So our presentation today will be talking a little bit about how Nationwide is approaching implementing strategies around innovation and also around conversational commerce. I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into what our conversational commerce platform does, so you can then think about that in terms of what Scott's going to say. And then I did say to the Opus guys, Dan, Derek and Pete, I'd really love our chief data scientist just to have a small time with the audience. And they went, oh, no, there are no chief data scientists on stage. Nobody understands what they talk about. So I said, all right, well, can you give me 5 minutes and I'll get Jack to really just take a very narrow slice of the machine learning or the artificial intelligence of our platform and present that in no more than 2 slides. And the guys said, oh, okay, we'll let you do that. So at the end of the 30 minutes I have with you today, Jack is going to just talk you very briefly about a component of the machine learning capability of a conversational commerce platform. The other delightful thing is that panel I really enjoyed very much, and many of the things that the guys talked about in that panel I'm going to bring to life in an actual use case that Scott will talk about as well. So very quickly, what is it that we have found our clients are interested in? And it's definitely not customer service. It is definitely around sales. So quick background to me. I'm an entrepreneur, have been for 15 years. I live in New York, but I have my development team based in Sydney. And my background is in customer experience. So I have built a number of companies. One is a market research firm that is specialised in building market research and customer experience research for financial services firms. And then another company called Fifth Quadrant, which is a customer experience design, human-centred design and technology analyst firm conducting this work globally. I also have a PhD in organisational behaviour, and my area of expertise is in how technology replaces human leader behaviour in the workplace. So all of these things collided about 2.5 years ago for me to see that there was an opportunity to build a software platform that allowed businesses to intelligently guide customers through their purchasing experiences and their customer service experiences. So we launched Flamingo in the financial services sector. We now have a number of large multinational financial services clients, including Nationwide, who use our platform. And when we initially implemented it, I also thought this is all around customer experience and improving customer service. But we very, very quickly learned in engaging with C-level executives, CEOs, CFOs, and also innovation leads like Scott, that in fact these businesses were struggling right at the very beginning of the customer journey. And that is in doing the needs and requirements and effectively selling online. So if you think about where the industry has come from, in call centre, which is I have a deep expertise in as well, and in face-to-face selling, it was the conversations that humans had that meant sales was effective. When we all raced to digital and these big financial services companies raced to digital, they just put web forms, tedious, dry, long, boring web forms online and expected customers to self-service through this. So in the conversational commerce field, what we've done is we've fused conversations, web chat, we've fused with web forms, and we've wrapped artificial intelligence around it to help customers navigate the complex world of buying products online, and to help businesses like Scott's actually be able to engage with customers effectively online using conversations and guided workflow, and then move this to automation. Now, one of the really cool things that the last panel talked about was the importance of still having humans involved. So we call what we do in conversational commerce human plus machine. So our intelligent assistant, her name is Rosie. And who can remember a famous other Rosie robot? The Jetsons, yeah. That's right. So Rosie is an artificial intelligence agent who guides customers through their online sales experience. But at all times, she can opt to a human. She can opt to a nationwide employee in Scott's case. But the way she learns, which is Jack's expertise, so Jack's PhD is in the data science of English literature and conversations, we don't need, some of the questions earlier, the platform to ingest terabytes and terabytes of data from Nationwide. We just need Rosie to learn from usually a couple of hundred completed cases or live customer sessions, so she learns about what the conversations are. And Jack's going to share with you a beautiful insight into the length of characters of certain types of conversations and words, which is really insightful. So let me just show you so you get an idea of what a conversational commerce platform looks like. And I will show you this as a quick video before I hand to Scott. Okay, so this is the enterprise view. So this would be, say, Nationwide. Sarah Smith is a customer. Sarah might have browsed in off the Nationwide website or has come through a social media or email campaign. And now Adam is either a human or Adam is a robot, is the intelligent assistant. And what we've done here, down on your right-hand side, these are all the pre-programmed journey steps, customer journey steps, that Adam can just automatically, or Rosie, if it's on automated mode, Autobot mode, puts onto the interface for Sarah to go through. And again, Sarah's just going through on a phone, on a desktop, on a tablet, and she's choosing her answers. She's co-designing essentially the experience. Now, the machine is intelligently configured using human-centered design principles to always come back to what is important to Sarah. Adam or Rosie are not going to force Sarah through the tedious, horrible 100-page life insurance quote or mortgage form. It'll come back to what is important to Sarah. So Sarah now feels this is individualized, it's personalized, and she is in control of the conversation. So this is what Sarah would experience from her view. So again, very, very simple. And as the machine's going through, Rosie is learning what are the conversations and how do we step towards automation. So we typically start out in a pre-test. We run this in human-to-human mode, have Rosie learn from real humans, step it into the next mode, which is called cruise control, which is a semi-automated mode, before getting to the ultimate state, which is fully automated, and that will be Rosie actually guiding customers typically through 80% of their full sales experience. And on this interface, we can put anything. All multimedia, forms, we pull apart application forms, make them immersive, make them engaging, and the customers actually enjoy and love going through the experience. Their comments to us are that it is informative, and for the first time, they actually understand the value the organisation is contributing. So let me just hold that there. And I'm going to pass to Scott now to talk about Nationwide's approach to innovation and conversational commerce.
Thank you, Catriona. Good afternoon, everyone. As Catriona mentioned, just a quick bit of introduction. I lead innovation capability development for Nationwide Financial specifically. So when you hear Nationwide, what do you typically think of? On your side. And what is that usually related to? Property casualty insurance, right? Peyton Manning. I did hear Peyton Manning. We love Peyton Manning right now. But interestingly enough, even though Nationwide Insurance is the number 8 property casualty insurer in the country, it's also top 10 in life insurance, annuity distribution. We're the number 1 insurer of pets in the country. We also deliver a lot of travel insurance, and we've been in the retirement plans business forever. We're the number 1 public sector retirement plan provider, and we're a top 10 retirement plan private sector provider. So while Nationwide's brand is very, very specific to property casualty, and that's what for years we have advertised, Nationwide on the financial services side will do more than $24 billion in first-year sales in financial services products. We're a Fortune 100 company, and my responsibility is innovation capability to deliver our ability to create new value, not only for the company, but also for customers. So I put myself squarely in the feet of customers when I'm working on innovation, and I'm responsible for a $2 billion revenue number by 2020. So all of that sets the stage for what I'm going to share with you. So I'm going to talk briefly about how we approach innovation at Nationwide, and then talk a little bit about how we've started to work with Flamingo to try to accomplish what it is we've set out to do in terms of the $2 billion number. You see up there something I've borrowed very heavily from those of you that know Clayton Christensen. He's a Harvard business professor who for years has been focused on innovation, and we rely heavily on his work. This is our innovation ambition matrix. And what I use this to do is I use this to develop and now maintain Nationwide Financial's innovation master plan. So my job is to, across the spectrum of all the products and services that Nationwide Financial offers, to map out everything on this, and I'm focused specifically in developing things in the transformational space. So I've got 2 axes here. One is focused on markets and customers, and one is focused on products. I'm looking to develop things that are either new to Nationwide or new to customers, or for the most part, what I'm focused on right now is both. It's brand new product designs focused on brand new customers that Nationwide Financial typically never talks to. So from that perspective, what we've started to work with Flamingo on is this bottom row, which is products and services. So I can build a brilliant product design, but if I can't interface with customers and do it effectively, it's not going to work. The joke that we always say internally is, okay, now I've built a 5% better mousetrap, let's sell $1 billion. And it doesn't work that way. So one of the things we've learned in our innovation journey is the necessity to start small and grow big. So I am focused on building an infrastructure that will allow Nationwide Financial to begin to in-market test, to pilot products and services without having to do the hundreds of millions of dollars of integration work and the years and years and years it takes us to get projects off the ground in some cases. Where it creates a challenge for Nationwide is, if you think about insurance, it's one thing for property casualty insurance, right? That's easy to stop and start. But if you think about things like life insurance or annuities or mutual funds, when a customer signs up with Nationwide, it's a 30 to 40-year relationship that they're signing up for. How do I in-market test things that I have to sign up for 30 years? So I've had to come up with some creative ways to do product designs that enable us to get in and out of the market. What I've also had to do is, and that's what I'm focused on right now, is the construction of an in-market test infrastructure. So some of the gentlemen were talking about a controlled environment. That's what I've had to create, is this in-market test infrastructure where I don't have to touch, conflict with, create problems for the rest of the IT infrastructure for the organization. Because all the product data has to live somewhere. So by starting small, it enables me in this controlled environment to play, not just with product designs, but with services that customers want and need. And that's where a company like Flamingo comes into play. So what we've started to do with Flamingo is we've actually started to integrate Flamingo into that in-market pilot infrastructure. Because here's the other challenge I face when I'm trying to in-market pilot things. I don't know if they're going to work. As a matter of fact, if I'm in the transformational space, I know most of the time they won't. So how do I justify to the organization a massive investment in both infrastructure and people to support an in-market pilot for a product that may be in market for 6 months? Can I tap 30 people from a customer service infrastructure to be able to do that? And the answer is no. As a matter of fact, the organization's given me 5. So if I'm going to in-market test in one state for 750,000 customers, how am I going to handle that with 5 customer service reps? It's just not feasibly possible. And so I've been searching for solutions that help solve for that, and Flamingo is bringing a great capability to my infrastructure that I need. And that is the ability to not, let's say it fails, that's one thing, right? I know it's going to fail and fail often, right? In that transformational space that I just showed you, I'm expecting a 90% plus failure rate. Where it gets really scary is what happens when it works. If I create significant customer value that not only helps the company be more profitable, but also delivers a lot of benefit, a lot of value to customers, what happens when they buy a lot? What happens if the next in-market pilot I do sells $1 billion when I'm expecting to sell 10 or 20 million? How do I scale for that? There's no way to. There's no way in the time I would need to be able to scale to handle that many customers. And so I need help. And I can't have it be people, so why not intelligent assistants? So the thing that I really like about Flamingo that they're enabling me to do is, as I'm conducting my in-market pilot, the very thing that's their strength, which is that human-to-human interaction that teaches the intelligent assistants, perfect. Because not only am I embedded in an infrastructure that delivers $24 billion in sales, I'm also in a company infrastructure that is significantly influenced by salespeople. I can't replace them totally yet. I don't know if I ever will. I don't know that I need to. Because the other reality of the situation is that nationwide, from year to year, there is hundreds of thousands of hours and millions of dollars of projects that never get done because there's not enough time. I don't have enough people or enough money. If I can unlock significant amounts of revenue and, oh, by the way, significant amounts of people, if I turn a $2 billion business line in, there's probably somewhere between 400 and 600 people at Nationwide that I would need to have attached to that project or to that business line. If I can cut that by a third or 2/3, those hundreds of thousands of hours of work and billions of dollars of business problems that need solved, that I can unlock those people to be able to do, that's what's important to me from an innovation perspective. Because for me, it's not just about either or. It's not about Rosie replacing my customer service reps. It's about Rosie enabling me to do billions of dollars of more business without having to hire another person. Because I can retrain those people that are customer service reps to be able to do other tasks. I don't have to put them out on the street. It's not an either or proposition. And so from a use case perspective, what we've worked on is we've worked our way in. I talked about small to large. The first thing we did with Flamingo was to do a customer service support post-sale support test. And one of the things we found is, this was in the pet insurance space, one of the things we found was 50% of the people that bought pet insurance from us didn't know exactly what they had bought. And a not insignificant percentage of the people had bought the wrong thing. But we caught that right after they bought it, instead of when they had their dog at the vet, that they were having to make hard decisions for. That is what makes this such an incredibly powerful story. We've then conducted a test with Flamingo to talk about, okay, how can we influence the sales process? So we've covered the post-sale. Let's talk about the pre-sale. Customers interested or needs to get interested. How can a intelligent assistant help us with that? And one of the things we found was it actually helped double our conversion rates for the people that we took through that small pilot. The next thing that I do is a quantum leap, though, where I've talked about, in neither of those cases did we integrate anything with the systems. The next in-market pilot I'm going to conduct, which is going to launch later this year, is full integration across the entire platform. I'm going to have the sales process conducted through Flamingo. I'm going to have the post-sale process handled by Flamingo. And I'm doing A/B testing. I've got the tedious web forms that Catriona referred to earlier. I'm going to have those. We're going to offer customers the ability to do it how they want to do it. One of the gentlemen that presented just before us talked about, you can't legislate to customers how they want to interact. I totally agree. We're going to give the customers the choice to either do it themselves online or to get some level of support. we're going to have very, very clear data that I can take to my executives, to demonstrate, look, when I integrate a conversational commerce platform, look what happens. Nationwide Financial's life and annuity business fielded 4.5 million phone calls last year. If I can automate 60% of that, it's not about saving customer service money, right? It's not about laying a bunch of people off. It's about now I have IPS's life and annuity business customer service probably number north of 500 at this point. I have 300 employees that I can now have do more important things to the company than answer how much money is in my account. Or, I don't think you guys have my correct address. Those are really easy things that can be covered by Rosie. And I love Rosie. I love the name Rosie. Did the trademark come through yet, by the way?
Got it.
It did? Nice. So from my perspective as an innovation lead, where I have a $2 billion number, I'm not going to just out of thin air create a $2 billion business. I've got to conduct, probably between now and 2019, I've got to conduct 20 in-market pilots of products. There's no way I can do that at any efficient level if every time I'm going to conduct an in-market test, I've got to train CSRs, I've got to get IT resources allocated, I've got to do all the work that needs done every time Nationwide launches a product. Just won't work. Flamingo is going to help me do that.
Okay.
Any questions? I know we'll have time for questions later. Sorry, that's a habit of mine. My training, my degree from Ohio State University is as a music educator. I'm a choir director.
Can you sing now?
I could sing, but I'm not going to.
I have a question. So your methodology sounds a lot like what Facebook is doing with them, using human agents to train the AI and the chatbot. But you mentioned 5, that you've got 5. Well, that seems like a kind of a low number. How long do you think it will take to actually train the chatbot?
Well, why don't we get Jack?
We'll have Jack talk. That was my mistake. That was my teacher coming out. Any questions? Okay. Jack gets to talk first, and then we can talk about that.
Okay, so what we might do, I might get Jack to just do his 2 slides. Remember, I promised the data scientist a bit of time on stage, and then we can pick that up because it's a perfect first question. Thank you.
Okay, so my talk today is about very short messages, their importance and how we structure them on the Flamingo platform. And I'm going to do it in 3 minutes. These messages actually contain the bulk of the interaction on the internet. People engage with each other using short messages. Longer ones are more descriptive. I can't actually show you any real-life customer conversations. That's all confidential. I can show you a small slice of our technology stack operating on a huge publicly available data set. This is data taken from the Reddit social media website, the place on the internet people go to have conversations. The size of the data set is substantial. 30 gigabytes of data and over 50 million messages, a big data treasure trove of conversations. We mine these conversations to perfect our software's capabilities on the internal Flamingo platform, where we host our own conversations. This picture shows the relationship between message length in letters and number of messages. So there are no messages of length 0 here. There are some of length 1, a few more of length 2, and so on. We build up rapidly to a peak of 36 letters up the top here, and then taper off slowly towards the end. These are thousands of letters long. Most movements here are smooth, with only a few jagged edges. We can use our software to strip mine this data, fuzzily matching all the messages of, say, 36 letters to better understand what's causing these irregularities. Now, the irregularities at the top of the plot, these ones here, are actually very dull. These are all additional spikes caused by image links. I'd like to focus your attention on another anomaly, a very important one, centered around very short messages, in pink here at the beginning of the plot. The growth in the early part of our plot is mostly uniform. We have more 3-letter words than 2, more 4 than 3, and so on. This growth does not hold all the way to the peak, however. We have a sudden and drastic dip at 6 letters. There is something different about messages of 6 letters or less, and that difference is twofold. Messages less than 6 letters are typically misspelled, and they're typically only 1 word long. So they're only a word long, and that word is probably misspelled. We have to fuzzily match these words at internet scale. With longer messages, this matters less. If we have 12 words and one is misspelled, we can rely on the correctly spelled words to carry us through. Here are the results of a large-scale fuzzy matching. Each group is a different color, and each color has its archetypal word printed in the same color. We can see how these small messages play out. They're all quick interactions. These are the glue that holds conversations together. Actions here are added as users add topics to their feed, reactions such as lol here, and interrogations. Why? Somewhere here.
Upper right.
Up the top. The size of a cluster is given by how much of the circle the color takes up. The most popular OK cluster is full of misspellings from at least 3 different root types of OK. Why does this matter? Well, we see exactly the same patterns when selling insurance or onboarding customers on the Flamingo platform. Longer descriptive messages glued together with extremely short misspelled messages. These small words form the basis of interaction on the internet. People talk at each other using longer chunks of text, but they talk to each other in short messages of only a single word. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jay. Terrific. Okay, 2 minutes.
You want to pick up with his question about training?
Yeah, so the great discovery that we had was, and I come from a data science background and big data background too, I thought this was all going to be about big data, but in fact it's not. Very much the same as the Radisson Hotel example where there's sort of 400 questions and that's it. Because the context of what we'll be working in, say for Scott's product that he's taking to market later this year, there's sort of a boundary in which the conversations happen that we can limit. So the way I describe it is the customer feels that they're having conversations, design the experience they want within the parameters that the business can deliver, and then we wrap the machine learning around that. So it's not big data, it's actually quite straightforward. So we predict for Scott within several months of running live customer sessions, certainly within a few thousand completed sessions, Rosie will have learnt enough to take 80% of all customers through this product sales experience. And that is the beautiful thing about conversational commerce done well, is it doesn't have to be expensive. Is the IBM guy still here? Okay, great, he's out of the room. Excellent. Every time we go into clients, they say to us, oh, how does it compare to IBM Watson? Is it going to be millions and millions of dollars for implementation? We go, no, absolutely not. This is a light touch step into AI that still has humans involved. Always opt back to the human and get pilots or trials stood up within 6 to 8 weeks just to test if it's a useful equation. So very consistent with everything that's said today. Definitely conversational commerce as an interpretation of an intelligent assistant, we think is about to take off.
And I would say you asked the question, is 5 enough? That's my job, is to make sure that's enough, right? So we keep the pilots relatively small in nature. I talked about 750,000 customers in Arizona. That's the addressable market. I don't think we're going to get 750. If we get 750,000 customers, I have a whole different set of problems. But what aligns really well with the approach Flamingo takes with what I'm looking for is I can align their learning period during my in-market tests. So that by the time I need to go to national business launch, I've already got the learning done, right? I don't have to pay to do that again, or I don't have to try to scale all those conversations immediately. I've already got that bank built so that I can just launch it nationally and have it scaled already.
Great.
Yeah. So I hate to cut this short, but just to stay on track, we have to adjourn now, but Flamingo has a booth right out there.
We're right outside.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and thank you guys. This is just fantastic.